guys, I'm going to be installing these Z26 Extreme ceramic brakes from PowerStop onto a 2019 Dodge Charger Hellcat. Main reason being, car's got 5,000 miles on it, but I'm already kind of sick of, after about 80 miles, you get a little bit of brake dust and it starts to drive you crazy after a while because you worked really hard at keeping these things really clean. And you get kind of tired of it and you want it to stay looking nice. So for $80, I think that there's no better way to get your car started and doing some mods. But I don't know if I even necessarily call this a mod. It's just more of curing a nuisance. So I'm gonna get started on this and maybe walk you guys through it a little bit. All right, obviously you guys are gonna know how to take off your tire and jack up your car, obviously, or you wouldn't have even tried putting on your own brake pads. But just want to show what 5,000 miles of the inside of here of what brake dust looks like, and you know what that's doing to your paint over a long period of time on these calipers. You know, you can't get in here on this part too well at all with the tire on there. So outside of it, sure, no problem. For the most part, can look good. But even on the inside there is really hard to get to. So getting these brake pads changed is going to be a very good thing. You know, keeping that stuff off of there. So what I'm going to do is now I'm going to just clean everything up real good. I'm going to actually get some soapy water and not just wipe this off because there's fine little metal dust particles in there. I don't feel comfortable just kind of wiping that and kind of scraping that, so to speak, along the paint. So I'm going to wash this off and make a little mess on the garage floor. And I'm going to also clean the inside of the tires, inside of the rims rather, because you know how hard that is to get to too, even using wheel wool. I got one wheel done already, but I'm kind of going over it once, just letting this kind of soak in here. I try to get this clean anyways when I'm washing the car, but it's going to get bad. It's going to be the worst part no matter what. Now when they're on the car and I'm washing it, I get in the cracks in between the calipers and stuff with these wheel woolies. I got these on Amazon. This is the biggest one, probably the most effective, but it comes with smaller ones for more detail. But those help out a lot. Hopefully I really won't have to use those too much anymore, at least the same way, after we get them clean this time. So Just kind of going over it one time, kind of soaking it in a little bit. A little pebble. You can tell when they painted these from the factory that they didn't take as much necessarily care at painting the inside of these as what they do on the outside. And it's evident. But I'm trying to get most of this off because a lot of this stuff here on the really inside part is stuff that really hasn't been cleaned. It's really hard to get to when it's on the car. So just go over it, let kind of that soak in a little bit and get it kind of ready. I'm using a green scratch pad and just going over it really lightly. You can do that on the inside of this without leaving any scratch marks. I wouldn't use anything more abrasive, obviously, but this is good for getting whatever else is left. I'm not putting any pressure on it. And I certainly wouldn't use this on the outside part of the rim because I think that it would definitely leave some swirl marks or some hazing. But on the inside of this wheel, no problem. You can see how it's discolored a little bit here. Along the inside, it looks like it's just from the factory that way. Either that or some of it looks like it might be maybe some kind of watermarks from when the car was washed before. Hard to tell. Either way, it's going to be really clean. So like I said, I had these pretty clean already because every time I wash the car, obviously I'm trying to get in here as much as I can. Thus the frustration with all the brake dust all the time. Because this water is still pretty clean. Actually, it's very clean. I mean, it's still transparent. Because I think it's probably about 80 miles ago when I washed these up real good. So there's not a whole lot of dust on them at all. There's enough just to be annoying. Another 100 miles and you'd really be seeing it on there. But if you have a Scat Pack or Hellcat, well, really anything that has the Brembo brakes on it, doesn't even matter if it's a Hellcat or a Scat Pack, same thing. You know what I'm talking about. I'm pretty much done here. I'm gonna rinse these off, dry them up, get it ready, and then I'm gonna start doing those pads. And then wash the detail the calipers a little bit more. All right, digging into here. On the back side, looks like we got a 13 millimeter. We're gonna take this big bolt out here first. This looks really, really easy, guys. Especially since there's hardly any miles on it. These are just gonna slide right out and then basically slide the new ones right in. You don't have to worry necessarily too much about, you know, the pistons being froze up or anything like that. It's gonna be so easy. I don't ever want to take these brakes for granted, man. These are awesome. Like, this is the only thing I don't like about this car. It's just these brake pads. I mean, I've always done the Camaros and Corvettes. Always been a Chevy guy. That's got a lot of dust on it. I'm gonna clean that up. But always been one of those guys, kind of old school. This is my first newer, like, muscle car. I've always been to the older ones, but man, these newer ones are just awesome. So it looks like we just got to get these two pins out, this bracket off. And those pads are going to slide right out. Easy as that. So I'm going to clean some stuff up here as I go. And get those pins out next. Alright, I got this bolt cleaned up pretty good. Used the green scratch pad on there, it worked out real nice. It wasn't just coming off, and this thing was coated in brake dust pretty bad. to hurt the paint. Yeah, I think I would be the unforgiving thing to do. But when you got nobody else to blame but yourself, it just sucks. You know, I might reuse these. I think the kit comes with new pins, but don't necessarily see the reasoning putting brand new ones in there. Don't really know why anybody would ever, you know, necessarily damage these things. I mean, they're pretty heavy duty. But in comparison to doing like just brakes on a regular car, I mean, this is actually, these are a good design. This clip here is kind of putting some pressure on these pins. I'm going to wedge that. Actually, once I get one out, the other one will just slide right out, but there's some pressure coming up right here. Let's see, actually. Let's just relieve that pressure. And I need to get some, a little more oomph. I'm gonna get a screwdriver in here and push it over. Where does it now? Maybe. There's a little lip on the end of here. And this pin. Oh, I take that back. This isn't so easy. No, not really. I'm just trying to be careful. Really just don't want to scratch anything. That's kind of funny. Putting this in should be, back in should be kind of interesting. And that spring keeps knocking it back over, little by little. I'm getting somewhere. And give it a little more force. Probably don't want to watch me get this out in real time, do you? I'm gonna there we go. I'll take this over. Probably put the new clip on. Actually, I will. Alrighty. You know, I don't use my brakes hard at all. At all. I mean, I even tried like downshifting to keep from having to necessarily use my brakes quite as much. Let me get these out without being stupid. There's a little bit of pressure on these from the pistons, but it's probably sticking a little bit in there because I washed it off. Some water kind of keeping it from sliding right out. So, I mean, I can tell it's more than 5,000 miles, but I guess it's what I expect. I'll probably just actually throw these in the trash. Even though I hate throwing stuff away that's still actually good. So I'm gonna wash this up here again, start putting the new ones in. Believe it or not, I've kind of been at this for a little while, but it's in there. Like these little spots inside are kind of hard to get out. So these are the wheel bullies I was telling you about. I'm gonna try to get in here a little bit with this, try to get some of these detailed areas I can't necessarily get with my own little fingers. While it's off, I'm just trying to do the best, absolute best job I can so that I'll be able to live with it when I put it back together. All right, this is as good as I could get it. So I think it looks pretty good, pretty much like what it would have come with from the factory. I also took this opportunity to go ahead and clean everything else, everything inside and out here while I had the tire off. Might as well. And I'm gonna go ahead and start putting these pads on this side. As I told you before, the Z26, these are about $80. I think like $82 with shipping. After you get them put in, it tells you exactly how to kind of break these in. All right, so this comes with a little bit of lubricant. I assume that most of you, if you're watching this video, you've probably done some brake pads before. Maybe just want to kind of look at the Hellcat, what the brakes look like. So not good. Pretty straightforward, I'd say. You know, these lubricants, it seems like they never put nothing in. Why don't they give you one of these things? I don't necessarily think I'm going to have to push these pistons back. But if I do, it might just be on one side. I think that probably sounded harder than what it was. I was just barely tapping it. Okay, so I'm not breaking anything. Nothing's gonna break. All right. Top or bottom first, top or top. I'm gonna use the new pins actually. I'll just look for answer. There we go.
I'm wondering if I should put a little bit of grease on these. You think they'll squeak around the car? I think I will.
Just putting a little bit of this Permatex to spray quiet on these. It's kind of blue. Just before I push those in, keep it just in case it wants to decide to squeak once in a while. That is in. Yeah, I think putting this in is going to be easier than taking it out. No wonder I had this on loose. I'm such a retard. There we have it. Looking good.